Okay. Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on September 13th, 2023. I got the year right because I've been warming up for 20 minutes, okay, on my own. But Richie Rich showed up, so now I can hammer him with everything, okay? And Richie, you can go anytime. I know he likes to drop in. He's a very busy man. Come and go as you please, okay? Here's what Richie Rich said that I wanted to talk to him about. Question for Rich. What does this mean exactly? And don't tell me that you never said it, okay? Because I can prove this one. The question was, can you always get through to the hiring manager? Because we were discussing, that a recruiter, a headhunter should only work with the hiring manager directly. Don't go through HR or any intermediaries, right? And the question came up, can you always get through to the hiring manager? And Rich said, you should be able to get through because everyone's got text. And if you're taking a dump, you can text me. Okay. What does that mean?
Totally taken out of context. Oh my God.
I knew he'd say that. If you're embarrassed, I will delete this. If you're embarrassed,
you should be the world's worst prompt engineer. That was in context to a current hiring manager. Oh, look at that. A phone call. That was in context.
You gotta go. If you gotta go,
go. No, that was in context to a current active hiring manager, not a new potential client. Number one.
Yeah, Richie Rich, he's great. Okay. I'm the first guy to say it, but he's also, he's wrong. Okay.
How is that wrong?
He'll say anything, and then whenever I repeat it, verbatim, okay, deny it all.
From here, a little bit from there, put a little bit here. Yeah. It's like making
I gotta tell you,
sandwich or something weird. I don't know.
They're all like that. It's not just him. On Facebook, they mouth off in the comments. So I'll highlight their comments and I'll make it a posting. I'll cut that comment out. I'll post it up, and they get nuts. They go nuts. Oh, it's out of context, Recruiting Animal. You're crazy. I don't like you. Oh yeah, okay. At least Rich doesn't dislike me. He just says
I love
crazy.
The animal.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Okay. Okay. But Joel Lalji, I reminded you of this already. The Superman of he's got 200,000 followers, a social media marketing guy for recruiters. 200,000 followers on LinkedIn. It's unbelievable.
Who's this? Joel who?
The guy who was here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The guy with the tan.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. He said, well, don't tell me you didn't point out that he had a great tan. Michael G. Cox did. Everybody did. Okay.
I don't remember that, but hey.
Okay, you don't even remember. Okay. But he said, Rich, Recruiting Animal's doing all the postings for you. There's a social media marketing for you already. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I am. Okay. So what might that mean? Well, if I was quoting you properly, Rich, about that, everyone's got texting. If you're taking a dump, you can you can text me. What does that mean in context? What does it mean?
I think it's very clear. At the end of the day, people can get back to you if they want to. People choose to do what they want to do. And sometimes while they're they can still text you back, basically.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the reality is, listen, everyone can get back to those they want to get back to. Sometimes you forget. That happens. But you follow up. If they keep forgetting, they don't want to talk to you.
Okay.
You stop the search.
So it wasn't a matter of getting through to the hiring manager. You can, if you've got their email address or phone number, you can always send them a text.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got to sit down sooner or later. Okay.
They got to see a doctor, one or the other.
Away from their desk, right? And so they've got time to reply to you if they want to. But that doesn't mean you can get through to the hiring manager, does it? Okay. Because the hiring manager might not want to talk to you.
Well, then you drop them as a client. That was it if it's an existing client. Not like cold call stalking someone in a bathroom,
Oh, I thought it was trying to avoid HR. You keep calling.
No, I mean, listen, it's not like the old days where you could avoid HR all the time. I mean, listen, there's definitely better talent acquisition people now, but most of them aren't really our friends. I mean, but the ones that want to partner and work with us, like the TAs and HR folks, are great. if they actually want to partner. But I just find so many of them get threatened, or they're so worried about you getting it done quicker, making them look bad, whatever the reason is. I don't really get it. They're two completely different jobs, in my opinion, being a talent act person and a agency recruiter. But but they get nervous. So, but if you find the ones that actually understand you're there to help and make everyone look good, talent act's great to work with.
Why are they two different jobs?
I mean, I think, again, generalization, but most talent act people are dealing with a lot of internal corporate BS. Most are not going actively out and hunting people out. Most are just responding to job ads or responses from LinkedIn and Indeed, which is all the garbage candidates. Every day I have a client tell me how their talent acquisition person hasn't found someone in 3, 4, 5 months, but they're so busy going through the 900 people that applied to their job post. So, I mean, as one person said, one guy told me yesterday, he's like, I didn't know there was casket salespeople. He's like, his TA was sending him people that was, it was a software sales role for a pretty complex solution. And he's looking at people that were selling caskets a year ago, not $1 million software packages.
Okay, but when you said, these talent act, the cool guys say talent act. It's talent acquisition, everybody, or TA, But I don't like talent act, but we've got newbies here. Okay, there's millions of them listening to this show. They want to hear the wisdom, the delicious wisdom. See, the delicious.
I love it.
Rich Rosen. Okay, so I don't blame them, but you just don't talk too much jargon for them without explaining. Hey, kids. Talent act means talent acquisition, but you said they're too involved with corporate BS. What does that mean? Aren't we headhunters having to deal with the same BS?
You do to a point, but I mean, they're stuck in meetings. They're stuck doing other more planning and helping. And it depends what level you're at too. But a lot of them doing, whether it's succession planning or the other different corporate objectives that they've got to hit. Like, for us, my job is I'm just finding good people for homes, for good homes. The internal folks have I talked to a lot of talent acquisition people, and a lot of them, like I said, are just responding to job ads. The good ones are actually going out and being proactive, but a lot of them have just different meetings about different things, different plans, different restructuring. I mean, I just think it's a totally different job, how they attack the market, what they do on a fully daily basis. They're generally not finding jobs. They can't pressure, or they don't pressure their hiring managers as much as you can pressure from the outside. It's different.
Okay, so in this case, everybody, kids, I misunderstood. I misunderstood.
I think this is like the 1,000th time.
I misunderstood, but it was worthwhile. It was a good mistake. When he said corporate BS, I thought, they have to put up with all the stupid idiots in their company who are hassling them, all the various moronic stakeholders. That's not what he meant. It's just their work. He meant they've got a lot of other activities to do. They're not oriented towards just bringing in people, okay? And he is, okay? Now I got you right. Do I have that right, Richie Rich?
For you, close enough.
Okay, close enough. He won't say, finally, you got it right, okay?
I don't want your ego to get
my ego. Okay. Rich, I told you, these postings, I post them every day now, okay? They don't even get likes from you when you're the star of the posting, okay? So I don't have an ego. I just enjoy the show myself, okay? I'm willing to do it when I'm by myself. And there's a guy, James Ellis, the branding guy. He does them by himself, and he's pretty good. I've often thought so. Mind you, let's talk about branding for a second. His idea is that you find out what you're doing and what the market requires that that other people aren't doing, and then you talk up your specialty. Now, I like when he puts it that way, but these branding guys, they don't believe in giving you a 360 view of the company. It's kind of lying. Put your best foot forward. They assume, look, any smart person knows that there's all kinds of bad things going on in every company, but what they're looking for are good things. So you just have to tell them the good things. It's going to appeal to somebody. Let them figure out the bad stuff on their own. What do you say about that? Do you think branding is deceitful?
I don't think it's deceitful. It's marketing. You're going to put forward the part that you want people to know about. Why would you put everything forward? Not everything's always great.
Okay, so, but you said once you get your candidates in the door, you tell them all the bad stuff as well. You open the kimono. Remember, nobody says that anymore. It was hot for a while.
I don't lie. I don't lie to my candidates. I mean, I'm not. Branding is different. You're just talking about selling the candidate. That's two different things. When I'm thinking branding, I'm thinking like marketing, outreach, posts and content and that kind of stuff. If you're talking about candidate stuff, once they're, selling them on the opportunity, is that what you're talking about?
Oh, well, let's put it this way. Let me take it. There's a guy named Richie Lampani. He's going to be a guest on the show. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he says, if you watch one of Rich's videos, he'll be telling you how great the company is. Okay. If he says somebody's telling you that stuff, great culture, if you're someone they're approaching, you have to say why. Does anyone ever ask you, Rich, what's so great about this? And what do you say?
I tell them, listen, the executive team is this, the rest of the sales team says this, is doing that. I mean, it's the people that make the culture. Is the guy a micromanager? Is the guy really a motivator? Is he a guy that's gonna, it's a guy you're gonna want to, work hard for. That's all part of the messaging.
So does a good sales rep then? Am I boring you, Rich?
Always.
Yeah. Okay. Does a good sales rep come out with a general, fantastic statement and then fill it in after the prospect has asked a question about it? Like when
do you say X, Y, and Z? I mean, like when I pitch a candidate on an opportunity, I tell them, hey, this is what I go through a lot of their background first, and then I give them the detail on the opportunity. Like, hey, this is a company that's doing X, 250 million in funding, and 200 plus clients already, and reps are killing it. And get what their thoughts are. Is this something they're even interested in?
Yeah, but your initial approach, your initial outreach is always just vague and general. Hey, but everybody, these guys are going to take you to the promised land. I love that, by the way. Okay. But that's what you said. I saw it. Okay. Don't tell me you didn't say it. Okay.
There's lots of different openings, but I mean, you're not going to advertise that this place is, a toxic dump. If you're working with a dumpster for a horrible company, I mean, you're going to advertise the positives, why someone would want to leave their job to come join. What is this? What's, in my case, it's revenue. What are people going to do to, how can this company help their career, basically?
Okay, no, you're missing my point. Your initial outreach, whether it's email or in a video, it's a vague, general puff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a commercial to get someone to see the movie, right? That's what that. Did you freeze?
No, I'm listening. Hey, I'm listening. I'm listening to the delicious word. The delicious words, okay?
Wait, do you ever watch Feeding Phil? This is totally not related to this. You ever watch Feeding Phil on Netflix?
Never heard of it, no.
It's the guy who wrote, it was like the writer for and producer for Everybody Loves Raymond. And it's a guy's hysterical. He's a comedian. He's a super nice guy, goes all over the world. He's like the poor man's Anthony Bourdain. And he does that all the time. He's like the delicious food. He's very funny. But you should watch it.
I got it from Tovia Singer. he's always quoting the Torah and saying it's so delicious.
With the hat, you're like Fiddler on the Roof.
Looks like a Strommel, doesn't it? Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Anyhow,
okay. So
yeah.
I can cut that part out if you don't like it. Okay. So here's the thing, everybody. You just come out and you tell them I've got a great opportunity. Lots of people tell you do not approach people with that hackneyed line, and the $1 million man, that's what he uses. Am I right, Richie Rich?
You are, but you have to. You also have to know who your audience is too. It's sales guys, and first of all they have to know you. And most people know that I don't work on schlocky companies, crappy companies for you non-Yiddish speaking people. So like my clientele, my candidates generally who know me, they know, hey, listen, if I'm working on it, it's generally a pretty good opportunity. So
Rich, I don't believe that most of most of the people you reach out to, they reach out. It's a word I hate, but look, I've been brainwashed into using it myself. Most of those people that you're broadcasting to, you don't know them. You're not always bringing in people that you know from before.
True, but I also bring in a lot of people. I've been doing this for 28 years. I've got thousands and thousands and thousands. I have 100,000 people in my database that I've spoken to at least once.
You know,
and do they all remember me? Hell no. But to most of them, it seems like it, you know? So like I call people up and they're like, oh, it took me years to realize that people actually remember who I am, but they do.
how do they show you that they remember? They just say, oh yeah, Richie.
No, they're like, oh, remember this conversation? We talked about A, B, and C. I talk about all sorts of weird stuff.
Oh, yeah. They say, you know what happens? They say, do you remember this conversation? And Rich says, I never said that. And you got it all wrong. It's on a context. It's on a context.
You know that crazy guy with the hat on his head?
Yeah.
Crazy Canuck.
Rich actually told me a few months ago, I don't want to embarrass him. I can cut everything out of the show. Okay. But he told me he was going to start his own podcast. And I was with bated breath. I want to hear how it was about how to be a good sales rep. And I wanted to learn. Okay. Have you thought about it at all?
I keep thinking about it. And then I keep.
What kind of questions? Let's do a little session right here.
That's awesome. I love it.
Let's pretend that I'm a sales manager, a hiring manager, and you've brought me to the show. What kind of questions are you going to ask? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's funny. I keep thinking about this. I was just talking to Mark Whitby about this actually the other day. You know, so I really do need to give it some real thought, but it ends up just being a conversation is what I kind of envision it doing. You know, so if we're having this conversation, if I get a VP on, I'd be like, hey, you know, so we're talking about what made you successful. You know, so how did you get, you know, become this VP? Talk to me about the growth and the success of how you built company XYZ up, you know, and then you would talk.
And what kind of answer, though, do you think that you would be expecting to hear from that kind of person?
They would talk about their strategy. I mean, because this is part of how I interview people anyway, you know, when I'm talking to them during an interview. So it's really the same thing. It's going to be, you know, so they would tell you, hey, this is how, you know, the strategy we use, this is how we built the ICP. This is how we, you know, grew revenue. This is how we, you know, it's like, how, you know, it's going to be questions along, I envision it being questions along like, what, you know, how do you work with a challenge? How have you worked with this challenging CEO sometimes? It all depends what their situation is. Like, I was thinking about doing this too. This part you can probably cut out, but I was thinking about doing it too. Even with candidates, sometimes you get really good executives that they're not working. They're looking for jobs. And I'm like, well, I can interview these guys. You know, they're happy I'm helping them out. They get a marketing asset. Yeah, another recruiter may steal them, you know, but this guy's going to remember I helped him and, you know, get the job, play the long game and get the jobs once he's in place.
Yeah, you know? I think that's interesting. But yeah. You know what? The thing is, because I've had recruiters on here who are looking for jobs, you got to make sure that they don't goof up on the show and make themselves look bad. Okay?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it live, and I would make sure it's edited so they can do what they want to do. You know, so it looks good. But I only want to do like a 15-minute interview kind of thing. Like, hey, you know, talk to me about what makes you successful. How have you grown this business? You know, what makes you're currently running sales for company XYZ. I mean, tell me what they're doing, how you differentiate them. Like, you know, how your sales guys, you know, how you building and coaching your sales team up, that kind of stuff. You know?
Would you ask a question like, what kind of music do you like?
Would I ask that? Probably not.
No. What about this? If you have one superpower, so you missed the beginning, of the show. If you have one superpower, what would it be and why? Would you ask a guy that?
No.
Or a woman? No.
I mean, there's certain execs I know who would find it funny. There's certain, you know, and it depends on the tone of the conversation. And there's certain guys that be like, dude, I don't have fucking time for this.
Well, you know what? There was recruiters who say they ask those kind of questions in interviews.
But they're idiots. I mean, listen, it all depends if you're having a funny conversation about certain things. Like, I talk to clients about everything. I've never asked that question, but, you know, you talk about whatever, whether it's football, politics, you know, dumb shit they see on TV, whatever it is. It's, you know, I mean, I got clients that trade pretty funny inappropriate memes. You do whatever, you got to go with the confrontation takes you, right? But I'm not sure I've ever asked that.
Okay. Well, here's another one, okay? And I'm going to bring these up again another time. But
Yeah.
this person said one of the questions he likes to ask candidates, I'm sure you've had numerous employee reviews. What is something that you've been reviewed on that you disagree with? I see that as a sneaky way to ask a person, what's your greatest weakness? Okay. Because they're asking, what did your manager hate about you? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a clever way to ask the question. I mean, honestly, I don't ask those questions when I'm interviewing people because I used to ask them a long time ago. And now I'm like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. My clients want to know what you can do for them today. And, I'm looking for polish and energy and passion and drive and a track record of success. And, depends on what your role is that you're hiring for, but sales guys, yeah, it's not that.
Well, you've got, but your clients are founders and VPs of sales, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And we talked about this before. Just they read those stupid articles and books. Do they ask stupid questions like that? Do you ever get feedback from?
Oh yeah.
Give me
Yeah.
one. Do you have a story?
No, I mean, I'm not off the top of my head, but no, I've got candidates all the time. Like the clients ask, like, what's your weakness? Like I had one yesterday. She started asking candidates, like, what's the last book you read? I mean, like, not a bad question. It's just like, yeah,
You know what? When I was still in university, I was watching the show, and a guy was saying who he was a lawyer, and he was saying his telling the questions that he asked, and that was one of the questions. He said, I always ask him, what are you reading? What was about? He said, because I want to work with somebody who's interesting. Okay.
You want to work with someone that's always learning is kind of the point of it, but I don't know. I mean, it's not like that. It's not a bad question. It's just it was an internal recruiter asking the question, not the hiring manager. So
it didn't. It read it in an article. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, to me, it was like, there's certain questions like that a VP can ask, and there's certain questions that make sense for a TA to ask. And it was just, I don't know, the way she asked it just didn't resonate well with the candidates. They were just kind of like, what do you care for? Like, so I don't know. I wish I recorded the conversation because everyone had the same reaction to it. It was like,
This guy Richie wrote something that Michael G. Cox used to say all the time. You know what the number one, there's on LinkedIn, there's all kinds of job tips, job hunting tips constantly. Yeah. He said, the guy said, you know what the number one key to finding a job is? Apply to jobs you're qualified for.
Yeah. Dude, it's true. I mean, like I said, this guy was getting like casket salespeople.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, too, for the candidates, it goes for the interviewers as well. We're talking about a job. Does a person have the qualifications to do the job? You don't want to know if he's reading something by Jacqueline Suzanne or I don't know who the current romantic.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It just gets to be like, I mean, this is like, I try to get back to absolutely everyone, but the amount of people that hit you up on LinkedIn and like all these candidates get all bent out of shape if you don't get back to them. It's like, you're not even remotely qualified for anything I'd ever placed, and it's like, and then they, so it's you don't have time to get back to those people. And those are the people that generally, I think generally complain more than anyone else, because they're just applying across the board to every recruiter or every whatever. And, you just physically can't get back to absolutely everyone.
You know what? I started feeling a lot a weight lift from me when I started just people don't realize that we're not all evil recruiters. Okay, when we have to, people ask us to connect, and you have to press a button that says ignore. Okay, we're not brought up to do that. Okay, ignore somebody, but that's what you have to do. Okay, and it was a burden gone from me when I started doing it, but lately it's been creeping back. I feel the need to reply, but Joel Lalji, who's our social media guru of the moment, he said he never accepts anyone who isn't in his market. Okay. Yeah. And he goes through his connections on LinkedIn and deletes the people who seem irrelevant to him.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, using Jobin is a great tool, because Jobin, you can go through your entire network and pull out everyone that doesn't fit certain criteria. Like if you have 100 people from China in your network that you're never going to talk to, obviously, just can go and delete them all in one fell swoop. You know,
Mhm.
so you got it. I have 212 connection requests sitting in my inbox right now, and like my VA will go through and eventually he'll go through them and ignore all the ones that aren't sales related or name of value. But I only have I'm constantly deleting people out of my 30,000 connections because and putting people that are more relevant in. So
Okay. So for all those kids out there, VA is virtual assistant. Okay. He's got a virtual assistant. Do you think that these AI, artificial intelligence tools, will replace the VA, be able to look at the connections and assess if they're relevant to you?
eventually, but not for a while.
Not necessarily. I'll tell you why. Because a lot of those profiles on LinkedIn, they're garbage. Okay.
Yeah,
And so,
well, that's the thing. Eventually, not for a while.
like Facebook is always telling me, oh, this is bad for community standards, okay? And it was completely innocent. Some machine is deciding that it's no good, okay?
Yeah. That's why we have a long time to go before, I don't know about a long time, but we got enough time before AI. It's not even real AI yet. This is all just machine learning. It's all math at the moment. It's all bits and bytes that are saying, hey, we think this word goes next or this word's going to follow this. So it's not really thinking per se. It's just making a lot of these assumptions based on mathematical equations. So, we got plenty of time before like real, true artificial intelligence is here, I think.
Well, it's happening faster than we
But
expect.
that's but what ChatGPT is not real AI. It's machine learning, which is different because machine learning is all like binary code. It's like, hey, if it's zeros and ones, so if X happens, we do Y. If this word, they're looking for all these word patterns and things like that based on its learning.
It's a glorified search engine. That's how I see it.
It is. That's what it is. But that's machine learning. It's like artificial intelligence means it's truly thinking on its own.
Mhm.
And but it can do a lot of cool stuff. I think ChatGPT is awesome, but it's not like it's not the Terminator. It's maybe a baby step towards it.
Okay, I also read that Bard is better than ChatGPT.
It wasn't originally. Maybe it is now. I don't know. Originally, It was garbage
Uh-huh.
when it first came out.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay. Should I do a final question or should I end it now?
you can do a final question, sure.
Okay. Apparently, this is a diversity issue, and we don't usually get into them here because that's a hot potato, okay? But this one says that there's bias against nice guys, and they meant men, not women, okay? Men who are warm, caring, and supportive and sympathetic, they make 18% less than other men on average, okay? And they're evaluated as less likely to have management potential. When they negotiate their pay, people discount their ability. Do you believe that's true?
No.
Okay.
I know. I think it just seems like a random dumb survey where they could have talked to nice guys who were, I don't know, doing whatever. Customer success guys are nice guys.
I'll give you an answer to work on. You didn't have a good answer. Okay. I think nice guy syndrome might be a problem, Richie Rich, because even recruiters, what do you got to do? You got to bug people who don't want to talk to you. Okay. Whether you're doing business development.
You could be a nice guy and do that.
No, nice guys don't want to harm people in any way.
That's not true. Nice guys still have to get things done.
Okay, you're now. You look what he's doing now. He's got his own definition of nice guy.
Who's deciding what nice is and who's being nice?
Okay, there we go.
Exactly. So listen, you got to be nice to you're being nice to your family, you're being nice to your kids, you're being nice to your potential client who you're just trying to help out. Seems pretty nice to me so far. Me bugging a client to make sure that they actually have better people on their sales team. I think I'm doing them a mitzvah.
No. Your client's already in the bag. He's working with you. But there's candidates who get calls from recruiters and say they're driving me crazy.
Okay, well, so candidates call a recruiter is how dare a recruiter call me and offer me a potentially better opportunity? Oh, the horror. Oh my God. What could be so bad? Next thing you know, someone's going to give me like a free pizza. Oh my God.
So a nice guy is not afraid. You can still be unafraid to be offensive and be nice as long as you think you're doing the right thing.
I
That's
don't
your
think
differentiation. Okay. What about this? A recruiter also has to tell candidates or people they speak to, you're not a good candidate for this job. Okay. So you have to hurt their feelings. And as long as you're righteous, so to speak, that's okay. You're still nice. Is that what you're saying, Rich?
you lost me.
You're no good for this job, Billy. Okay.
Yeah, otherwise, you're just leading him on.
Okay. If Billy gets mad at you, that doesn't mean you're not nice.
Listen, well,
Okay.
no, that doesn't mean you're not nice. It means Billy's a wimp, probably. Maybe Billy's not nice. I mean, like, I told this lady today, she was very good, but I'm like, she wanted a ridiculous amount of money for 2 years experience. She was trying to tell me her salary was $150,000 to $175,000 is what she wanted for her next job. And she's like, well, I'm in New York. I'm like, who cares? I'm like, you have 2 years of experience. I'm like, like, that's what people with 20 years experience often get. And she's like, well, I'm in New York. I'm like, again, move. No one cares. But you don't have the experience to ask for that kind of, of base for what her background was. Am I mean for telling her that? No, it's very nice. I'm helping her out. And she understood. She's like, well, this is what I'm getting now. I'm like, well, you shouldn't leave. I'm like, it's that simple. They're overpaying you because there was a dumpster fire, which is why we're talking.
Okay. And at the end of the conversation, she said, Rich, you're so nice. It was a pleasure to
She sent me
pleasure talking to you.
Send me a Valentine's and everything. I mean, no, listen, she appreciated it. Listen, I mean, I think there's a difference between being a jerk and being blunt and honest with people. And I don't know, most people appreciate blunt and honest if you're not doing it to be just mean and nasty to them. They're doing it to help. I mean, if they don't like it, that's on them. That's not my problem. I don't think that's mean.
Okay, so
I mean, I like coaching. Like, I'm learning to play golf, right? So I go play golf with my buddies. They tell me I'm screwing this up and that up all the time. But you know what? It makes me a better golfer.
Uh-huh.
Am I going to get pissed because they said you did this wrong? What's that going to help?
So tough. Final word. Tough love doesn't mean you're not nice. Is that right?
Yeah, it's not even tough. It's honest. I mean, if I never told you how dumb the hat looked, all right, would you be mad at me?
As a Canadian, I just say everybody, I take so much punishment, just for my national dress.
Yeah.
Richie Rich, I'm so happy you came today.
Always good to see you, buddy.
Thank you much. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a good day, bud.
You
Bye.
too. Let me see how I end this thing. Okay.